All right, Miss Mansky, are you ready back there? We're recording and we're ready to go.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. This meeting has been noticed to Evans Print Media Group, WCOW Radio, Magnum Radio, La Crosse Tribune, Sparta City Hall, Sparta Free Library. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Unless someone, a board member has a recommendation, I do not.
No recommendation from Mr. Russ. Any other updates?
I have a recommendation.
Yeah, Ms. Lopez.
I would like to remove 3D, discussion and possible recommendation to approve Genders and Sexualities Alliance as a new club for Sparta High School.
3D. Do we have to vote on this? Is this
And that would
consensus?
be, but no, that would be the recommendation to do that. So
that'd be
if
a
that
motion.
was, so we would need a motion to adopt the agenda if, with removing 3D,
Yep, okay.
if
Perfect.
the board agrees to that.
Anything else, Ms. Lopez there?
No, do I need to move to remove that? I mean, do we need a motion to do that, or?
I think as long as someone would adopt, yeah.
As long as, because you're going to say to adopt the agenda, and if somebody says no to that,
Okay.
we need all in favor. If it's 3-3, it doesn't go through.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
I move to approve the agenda with including the removal of 3D.
All right. Mr. McKenna, second that motion essentially. So, any other discussion there? Board members? Move to a vote? I don't know where to look. Where's Wendy?
Just all in favor.
Oh, sorry. All in favor for adopting the agenda as presented with the changes from Ms. Lopez, say aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3. All those opposed, say no. No. Any abstentions? Anything else? So I'm hearing 3-1 with 2 non-voting. Is that right? All right. So we'll remove 3D for a different time. Did you want to put any time frame on that at all, or? Okay, perfect. All right. So removing 3D from that, we have the agenda adopted. Can I request everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Where's the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Mr. Russ, will you remind us of Sparta's mission statement, please?
Yeah, our mission statement is to educate all students academically, emotionally, and socially to inspire curiosity and resilience.
Perfect. Do we have any public input tonight?
I didn't receive any. Is there any public input tonight? Ms. Marquand, did you receive any?
All right.
I do not believe there's public input.
Well, with that, we'll move right along then to reports. 2A, Southwest, we have, is it Derek and Jason? Awesome, thank you.
All right, just going to give you guys a quick recap of our year, kind of what we're working on now, and a couple things for the future. So transportation by the numbers, this was a helpful slide from the last one, so I thought we should bring it back. We have 45 pieces of equipment for transportation in Sparta, 37 AM PM routes. That number is down 3 from last year. We were able to find some efficiencies over the summer, as well as shortening one midday route, so that went down as well. Our overall miles traveled per day is down as well. Besides with the removal of routes, we did find some more efficiencies, so we're always looking to save time and money wherever we can. So ride times, I just thought I'd add this one this year. Ride times vary. We're trying everything we can to keep everybody under an hour. There are some outliers, and especially when we have to go to other districts to pick up students, kind of throws a wrench into things. But those are the breakdowns for every 15 minutes. Safety is a big thing we accomplished this year. Every year we have an annual inspection. This was our first year with a perfect score. Usually there's a fan button that isn't working right or something like that. They go through the buses and go over 50 different checkpoints and check every button and switch and make sure everything's working perfectly. And this year we didn't have any infractions. So that's what we strive for. It will be what we're striving for again next year. So yeah, just really proud of our team for that. Our driver training program is outstanding. We've trained over 30 new drivers since we've been here. We've got another one that's starting on Monday that goes for her test. So hopefully, knock on wood, that one goes well. Every year we go through beginning of the year trainings as well as recertifications for all of our drivers. So we take them through the process of a student drop off, a railroad crossing, and then sometime throughout the year we'll bring in one of the officers from the railroad, and they'll talk to us some more about railroad safety. So that's something that we just continue to do every year. Local area events are always fun. We've got to do all the parades this year. We got to do the homecoming parade as well. National Night Out, Touch a Truck. We do Trick or Treat Street with the Boys and Girls Club and Stuff the Bus with the Lions. Just like doing those things. We usually have a pretty good turnout, so just like to give back to the community whenever we can. Southwest Park. Maybe some of you have seen it, maybe you haven't. We came up with this idea where we're going to do like little interviews with bus drivers while we're parked. It's a little spin-off South Park. We're actually working with the high school art department. They're trying to redraw and make us a new logo so it's more Sparta-centric, bring in a lot of those things. So I don't know if you're familiar, if you have any interest. We do have a little clip here of a sneak peek of this week. So if you guys want to listen to that, you certainly can. Oh, no, you can't. It's supposed to play now. What? I don't know how to make it play. Just kidding. You'll have to check it out on Facebook or TikTok. So this year we started a new, I don't know how to explain it, but a new focus, I guess, a new framework for what we're going to be pushing for internally. Make sure that we stay in good communication with each other as well as the district. Make sure everything we do we're accountable for. Always safety. Safety is always going to be on there, and integrity. Those are just like the four main things that we really want to focus on this year. So just thought I'd share that. And then finally, we'll be closing on our building on February 1st. We've gone through a long process of whether or not we're going to build and move and how we're going to do this. And this is the direction we're going. So February 1st, we'll be officially in our building for good. So then there will be more updates as the years go, I'm sure. So that's all I have. So anybody have any questions?
Before we take questions, I'll just get this out of the way. School closings. We collaborate. I get a lot of questions about how do we close school and that sort of thing. But it's a collaborative effort. Jason is out early, depending on the weather and that sort of thing, but checking the road conditions. We have good collaborators with the Monroe County Highway Department, State Patrol, National Weather Service, but it's a true collaborative effort, especially going to the safety side of things. Our ultimate goal is we're going unless we really can't, because I know Jason understands, and we have these conversations in our district as well, because having school is such a big priority and a big thing for our kids, for our routines and our families, so they can continue on with their normal day. So it's a lot of collaboration, early calls. We make the decision as quick as we can, no later than 5:15 is our goal. But it's a true collaborative effort with that. And as of now, we do have school tomorrow, just for the record. We will until tomorrow morning unless otherwise said.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board here? Yeah, Mr. Kenner.
Where's the new building located?
It's the building we're currently in, 1700 Old Airport Road. It's behind the
You're buying your
WWT.
current building.
What's that?
You're buying the current building.
Yes, yep,
Okay, gotcha.
yep. We decided that was gonna be our best bet, is just kind of stay where we are, but we got the opportunity to purchase that building, so that's where we're gonna stay.
And then the other question I have is about the ride times.
Yeah,
The two 90 to 120 minuters, where are those located?
so the two, which ones? 90 to 120? Kendall.
Thank you.
Anybody got any?
Yeah, I have a question, please, if I may. Thank you both for being here. We appreciate you. I noticed that the AM and PM student numbers vary slightly in
Yep.
terms of ride time and things like that. I wonder, do you try to implement like a first on, first off type
So,
thing where
we
it's
tried that.
flip-flops
This
morning
is-
and afternoon?
Yeah, we're more efficient doing things. It's hard to explain unless you see the whole picture, but
Sure.
we do when we can, but a lot of times we're driving past so-and-so's house to drop somebody off, and we get a lot of kickback from that, from other families and parents. So we found it, for the most part, we're doing a pretty good job. And some of the ones that ride longer, at least a large majority, especially in the PM, are like Herman students that parents want to go home with their middle school students and so on and so forth. So that adds time, but they chose that. So
Well, it's wonderful that you accommodate the families
yeah,
as much as
when we
possible.
can, we will when we can. It doesn't always work that way, but for out of town kids especially, it's easier to do that. If we can get that bus to go to Meadowview, then yeah, we can make that happen. So
And my last question is regarding staffing. Have you been able to stay fully staffed with
Yes.
bus drivers? Oh,
yep,
wonderful.
we have been fully staffed all year. We've got a shop maintenance person, or a buildings maintenance person. He usually is en route. This year he's not. Our mechanic's not en route. I'm not en route anymore. I started at the beginning of school, but I have a little one who started school this year, so that's kind of the deal, is I have to drive his bus for a little bit. So, or I get to. I shouldn't say I have to. I get to. But our router isn't en route. My assistant manager is not en route. So yeah, we've got coverage, and then we've been fully staffed pretty much since the first year we've been here. So
I imagine that contributed somewhat to your perfect inspection report as well, having people doing
Yeah.
what they need to be doing.
yep.
Sure. Thank you so much.
And along with that, before the next, we're very fortunate to have our partnership and how our drivers are very dedicated, because not all districts are sitting in an employment setting for their bus drivers. So Mr. Blaha can attest, and Mr. Sanders, like, we're delaying co-curricular activities for bus routes or dropping kids off. Not saying we don't do that early, but we are very fortunate to have this strong partnership, and it's a testament of Southwest as a company, how they take care of their drivers, and the collaborative nature. When issues do arise, we work together to solve them. Same thing with the families and the students.
Other questions or comments from board? I was just going to say too, I think I was going to ask about the staffing, so that's really good news to hear, and probably also a product of all the community events and all of the, right? I think the TikToks of the riddles and right, like that type of stuff too. I've really seen more in
And
the
if
last.
any of you want to learn how to drive school bus, we're always willing to
We can
teach
do that
any-
now officially
Yeah,
too. Yeah. Good.
It's okay now. So if you're interested,
I was
we have a
gonna-
great training program.
I was going to ask about two things.
Yeah.
One, I remember a few reports ago about the new app that allowed some tracking, and I was going to ask how that's going. And then fuel tanks. I think that was one that was a conversation on.
So fuel tanks got delivered today, and our tablets will be installed on Thursday, I believe, pending the weather and everything else. But as far as when they're going to get filled and when we're going to switch over, I don't have a date for that. But we are in process with that. The bus tracking app is working pretty well. Not as good as we'd like. We'd like to have more usership. Trying to think, about 25% right now is what's utilizing busware. And for the most part, it's working pretty good. Every once in a while, the trackers get a little funny because they work off the cell towers. So you still have spotty spots, and so, but for the most part, they were working pretty good. And actually, the company is doing a much better job of following those. And if we're having a tracker, it's just a little box like this. If it's not working correctly, they'll just send us a new one, and we swap them out. So that seems to help sometimes. So I don't know
Thank you.
get old or what.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you both. Appreciate it. Thanks for all you're doing. Next, we have 2B, WASB 2024 Convention Resolutions. Mr. Russ?
Yes, on Wednesday, correct, Todd, or is it on Thursday? The WASB resolution meeting.
Typically it's the Wednesday.
The Wednesday. So the 17th, the board has chosen Todd to represent us at the WASB Delegate Assembly, where every school board has a delegate or a chosen person to go and speak on behalf of the school board. And attached in board docs are the potential WASB resolutions for the 2024. There's not as many of them as there has been there in the past. Last year at the resolution delegate assembly, it went so long that they had to stop and they didn't have a quorum. So they made some changes to the system that they're using and that sort of thing, and there's less amount of resolutions. So attached in board docs are the resolutions. This is not an action item. This is just an opportunity for the board members to share their ideas or support or not support or whatever it is. However, it is not an action item. This is just giving guidance to Todd, and Todd does have the authority to vote on the delegate on his behalf. And before we get into, typically we can just say take them all at once, go one at a time. The administration is in support of all these resolutions. Just wanted to put that out before we have this discussion. And I think, ironically, one of the resolutions that they did brought forward was the ability for school board members to drive school bus because of the shortage, and a good way to meet with kids too. So, but open to any feedback for Todd for the resolutions, but the administration does support all of these resolutions, and a lot of them is a lot of nomenclature and updated of legalese.
Thank you for that, Mr. Russ. Any comments or discussion from board on the resolutions? Yeah. Ms. Lopez?
I have a comment about, it's on page 6, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, page 6, under the modification of revenue limits. Letter C, changing the revenue limit FTE membership calculation to allow a district to use either the 5-year rolling average, 3-year rolling average, or current year membership, whichever is greater, and allowing a district to apply to the DPI for emergency aid or revenue flexibility. So I can definitely see how that would benefit the district, and I think that, from a revenue perspective, that would be great. However, I'm a bit concerned about how it's almost as if a district could stack the deck every year, changing it and making it whatever is best for them, which I don't think necessarily creates a situation of goodwill with our taxpayers. And I believe it would limit, the school board budget is so confusing anyway, and then to have to explain every year what we're basing our membership on, I just don't think that builds trust with the community. So that would just be my one comment about that. like it or not, whether it benefits the district or not, having it prescribed by the state, we can just kind of say that's the way it is. We don't really have a choice. It's a 3-year rolling average, or it's a 5-year rolling, whatever. But if we can change it every year or however often to on a whim, I just don't think that is the best method to take. But that's just my own thought about that, Todd. Thanks for doing this, by the way. And I hope it goes better for you next year than it did last year. It was awful.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Any other comments from board? Do you have anything, Todd, you wanted to say about the resolutions committee at all or anything like that?
Yeah, I could talk about the Policy and Resolutions Committee. So I was honored to be placed on the Policy and Resolutions Committee for 2 years. We go through and a lot of the things that are part of discussion is maximizing local control and how we as board members can, because we don't want to end up having a situation where the state says, no, you could only do this, right? That's likely why we're in the problems and have trouble finding the solutions that we have. So, like, for example, as much as I appreciate reading Act 20, right? It's an unfunded mandate, and now we have to take away needs for students to address needs for students. And so that's one of those things. I have to look and see if, because you said page 6, right, Amy? Yeah, I don't think that was something that we particularly changed. Those were staff changes, and overall the language. So it's pretty hard to. I mean, you could make amendments to those things, but I just wouldn't. Those were staff changes, and that they only changed the language and not necessarily the body as itself. So to upend the entirety of the language would be pretty difficult, and especially because the main reason why we lost quorum last year was because people got amendment happy. So how can we get this done at a policy and resolutions type deal where you would send that through either us as a board or send that through the proper channels in order to get that done.
Well, thanks for doing that. Any other comments from the board? Anything else over there? Good? Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Wells. Should we move on to 2C then? Financial report with Ms. Hauser.
Thank you. This is our monthly financial report. November is a month that we watch cash flow borrowing pretty closely because we don't receive our first state aid payment for the year until December. We did get through without having to cash flow borrow. So now we have the state aid and the tax levy amounts will be coming in primarily in January and February. So we're good for cash flow for the next several months here now. December also was a 3 payroll month, so the expenditures were higher in December due to that 3rd payroll. So the dashboards are back because we have our approved budget and we have some expenditures to show against it now. We are trending right where we need to be. When you look at the full report in board docs, you will see that there are very few line items that are over budget, and the ones that are very minimal. So again, we're trending right on pace with how we budgeted this year. So all very good for this point in the year. And if we continue on track, we should end the year with about a 22% fund balance. That's with using the $575,000 of revenue stabilization. So that is still planned as current, but again, a lot will change in the coming months as we start to settle up some of the budgets. Are there any questions?
Questions or comments from board? Good. Thank you, Ms. Hauser. Appreciate it. All right. Moving into business 3A, discussion and possible recommendation to change how Board of Education meetings are streamed and or recorded. Mr. Russ?
Yes, we had, in December, we had a presentation, a report on our current viewership of our live stream and our recordings. Just to kind of review what we're doing currently, we currently live stream, like we are today, Committee of the Whole and regular scheduled meetings. The meetings are then after they're streaming live like we are right now, and then Ms. Wilcox is here. Ms. Wilcox then uploads those to a company where they get closed captioned and translated into Spanish for a cost per minute. And then the meetings are posted on our website. So there's probably anywhere from 4 to 7 day delay depending on how the length of the meeting and then translation and closed captioning. And to date, we started this, I believe, in September, October of last year. It was about a little bit over $19,000 for that. I didn't put the data up again, but the data did show that we didn't have a lot of viewership afterwards for our Spanish versions and for our closed caption versions as well for our English. We did a little evaluation of our local districts. Toma does not stream or post anything. Our other local districts do stream. However, they just immediately, for the most part, upload to the website with closed caption through YouTube. It's not 100% ADA compliant, but that's what most of them do with no Spanish or other language translation.
Thank you, Mr. Russ. Any comments, questions from board?
Yeah, Mr. Burns Gilbert,
Yeah.
I think, just based on the viewership, I think we need to live stream. I think we still need to continue to record. I think it's important to maintain that transparency with our community and our constituents. I would like to see that $19,000 savings, though. So I guess what I would recommend to the full board is that we withdraw the sending it on to the company. I'd like to see us live stream and then upload. I say immediately, I guess I mean within 24 hours if we could, and then utilize the YouTube closed captioning like our area or our surrounding districts. Do you, Ms. Wilcox, you understand what I'm saying with that, correct? Yeah. And then in the event that we have a scenario where one of our constituents reaches out and asks for an accurate closed captioning, Ms. Wilcox could put that together. We're more than happy to pay her to do that and make sure that it's accurate, and then we'd go that route. I should probably make a motion with that, correct?
If you're ready to make a motion at that time, that would be the appropriate.
So I would entertain a motion to recommend approval to the full board that we withdraw the Mr. Russ, help me here.
Withdraw the closed captioning and Spanish translations for our posted meetings unless otherwise requested.
Thank you for that. So as presented.
Everyone got that motion?
Yep. I'll second.
Second by Mr. McKenna. Further discussion or comments from the board? Ms. Lopez?
Can I have that placed under consent?
Absolutely, we can
Thank you.
place that under consent.
That work for it? Yep. Okay. Mr. Wells, go for it.
Yeah, I have a couple quick questions. Just what is our views? What's our viewership for the last? Can we just do the last 3 board meetings? Or can you let me know?
Yep.
Or in recent, what's the highest one in recent history?
Do you want the live views or do you want the
recorded?
The recorded views. We had, let's see here, the average is 22 minutes. I'm sorry, 22 views for an average of 4 minutes. That was since we started this minus December. Mm-hmm. The biggest viewerships for the recordings, I'm understanding this, we had our the annual meeting is one. The annual meetings are the biggest one.
Good.
Yeah. I was just I just have one last thing. I was just wondering if we could add a caveat, like let's say if we do have our average regular board meetings get up to 100 views or whatnot, that we end up having triggering this to go back on the agenda. If that's something that we'd be willing to have a friendly amendment for, or something as a recommendation, or is it Sam's got a question?
And we could, if you wanted an amendment, to review in 6 months. That would put it, we would give a report to the board, kind of like what we did in December. And the December report generated this. But if you wanted to make an amendment, and if we have 100, that would be up to the board.
I have a question, please, if I could ask Mr. Wells. What would the purpose of the review be? Because I don't believe that there is a cost to the district to post it on YouTube. Is that correct? Or it's very minimal?
There is no cost. We're educational. I think they allow us to do that.
Okay, so it's no cost to the district, and so we're providing that transparency to our community. So I'm not sure why.
No, I'm talking about to relook at it for the purpose of adding professional closed captioning again.
Oh, I see. Thanks.
So because our viewership's low, we can make a general assumption that no one's effectively using. But if our viewership were to get higher, maybe it would be something of value to us to look back into.
I'm fine with that. If you are Mr. Rest, I mean, we can look at it in 6 months, do a review, and we'll just go from there.
We can add a report, and then that kind of like what it's stirred today's conversation after December.
Sure.
So we'll plan on taking this in 6 months, and that'll give us through the rest. So we'll probably do a June or July update to the board.
Thank you.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? No? I think for me, I think that's one piece too. I just wanted to add, I feel comfortable going this route with the data, the reports, but also because the community engagement priority that we have talked about a couple months ago. So I'm hopeful that that will continue to kind of fill some of those gaps if there are going to be gaps, and also kind of continue to, our Spanish-speaking community members, right? How can we continue to support them the best we can? So awesome. Okay. So we had a motion on the table from Mr. Solzy with an amendment, and a second from Mr. McKenna. Any other discussion? Otherwise, we can go to all in favor. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes 6-0-1 absent. To the full board. Recommend to the full board.
And that was on consent.
Yep. It was on consent, right? You were good with that, Mr. McKenna? Yep. Good. All right. 3B. Moving on, discussion possible recommendation to approve open enrollment in regular ed and special ed spaces for the 24-25 school year. Mr. Russ.
Every January, the Board of Education has to set open enrollment caps, if any. And this is an annual activity that the boards have to do. If boards do not set caps, that means all programs, special ed, regular ed across the district are open, including charter schools and so forth. So looking at our enrollments for regular education, and it's on the slide, for regular education spaces, Sparta High, Southside, Herman, Meadowview, and Sparta Montessori are all open to anyone who wants to go into the open enrollment program. And for the closed programs for our regular education, ISA and sales would be closed as our recommendation. The reason why is because we have a waiting list for those programs. So those are regular ed. So ISA and sales would be the only regular education openings is our recommendation. And then it goes to special education. Based on our caseloads and based on our needs, for open enrollment, it is our recommendation that we are closed to all special education programs based on our data. But I want to make sure it's very clear that if a student with special needs would enroll into our district and live within our boundaries, we have to service that individual. This is only open enrollment, and I just want to make that very clear that this is open enrollment for all special education programs across the district. So the recommendation that the administration is recommending is that the Sparta Area School District is open to all students except all special education programming, Innovation STEM Academy, and sales.
Thank you, Mr. Russ. Questions, comments from board?
I do have a question.
Yeah,
Are regular ed and special ed the only ways that we're able to divide this? I mean, is this like a DPI thing that you have to do regular ed or special ed?
Yes. Because the special ed is based on services that we can provide, and a little bit of history is that they wanted to make sure that the districts went through their evaluation of the amount of space that they have, so that if we had open enrollment kids, the district would not have an undue burden to increase services, increase staffing, or anything like that, just because of that. Now, the part of the process is if we do have a student with special needs who applies for us, we have to go through that process even though it's closed. There's another process behind the scenes that we go through. Ms. Mullen looks at it and says, okay, this is the student's individual education plan, this is this, and we go through that process as well. So it's not a blanket statement, but it is just something that all districts need to do if the board agrees.
And I guess my question was geared toward ELL, only because that does put some strain similar to what special ed does, but they're looked at regular ed and we cannot include that, correct?
That is true. Students with English language learner that are considered English language learners are regular education students when it comes to this and in everything else.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah, Ms. Behrens.
My question is on the waiting lists. So if there were students to open enroll into our district, can they get on those waiting lists then? And how does that, is it like a first come, first serve type thing, or how does that work?
So the lottery for sales, I'm sorry, the lottery for ISA is that it's before the open enrollment period ends. So they go through that. So Mr. Sanders works with families who are interested in that, and it's very similar to sales. Is that any student who enrolls in our school district, either open or regular, at sales is a Sparta High School student first before they get placed into that program. So the best thing that we tell families is to open enroll to Meadowview Middle School. You can say ISA, however, everything is done, and then ISA knows that, and then they can call if there's another people on the waiting list and stuff like that. So.
Thank you.
All good? Awesome. Any other questions? Yeah, Ms. Lopez? Oh, sorry, okay. I had a question, Mr. Russ, I don't know. Can you explain the waiting process for sales? I think we've had conversations, right, with to me, a waiting list for sales is a different conversation in my mind of how can we support them or how do we, what are some of those adjustments we're making? Yeah,
we're working with Dr. Wendy and the sales team in Sparta High School on establishing a list. And I can tell you that Sparta High School is working very hard to reduce that list, and which our ultimate goal is that students who enroll that start at Sparta High School end at Sparta High School. But we have a waiting list because we do have some students who are younger, sophomores, that may be credit deficient. However, we don't have the capacity at this time or the programming right now at this time to accept them until they go through a little bit waiting list to do that. So as the trimesters come along, I believe we had 12 sales students go through a ringing of the bell ceremony that illustrates that they're done with their credits. They still have work completion and stuff like that. So now we have more openings. We have different programmings. We're continue to refine the best we can by working through with the team to see what's best needs to them. But at this time, they feel that they're staffed appropriately. Sparta High School continues to work with the students to get to graduation because any credits that they earn at SHS transfers to sales, but sometimes that process just takes a little bit longer based on the grade in school.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments? Otherwise, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Burns Gilbert, I'd make a motion to recommend to approve open enrollment in the regular ed and special ed spaces for the 2024-2025 school year and be placed under consent.
I'll second that.
A motion by Mr. Schulze, second by Mr. Wells. Any further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion moves forward to the full board. 6-0, 1 absent. All right. Moving right along. 3C, discussion possible recommendation to approve Sparta High School's 2024 candidates for early graduation. Mr. Ford?
Good evening. I'm bringing to you the list of students that have met the graduation requirements for their senior year.
Exam. So all these students are candidates for graduation, and upon completion of those requirements, they will be considered early graduates. They're still eligible for graduate. They can still participate in our ceremony. They have scholarships. They have all those things, and they're attached to board docs in the executive side for all the list of those. So these are candidates for graduation in, I believe it's March or April. The rest of the candidates for graduation will be coming to the board. Once again, they're all candidates. They're all considered seniors. However, once they graduate, they no longer have classes with us. And their co-curricular participation comes to an end because there's no longer a full-time student, and they move on. And a lot of resiliency for a lot of these students have worked very hard to put themselves in this position. Some of them are going to the military, some of them are going to the workforce, some of them are getting ready for their post-secondary. But it's a very exciting day that these kids have worked this hard to end a semester early and do what they need to do.
Clearly, if there's any issues, we work with the students moving forward. And like Mr. Russ said, we do our best. We work really hard to work with students to keep in contact with them over the course of second semester, so they don't miss out on any of those communications and things. And they are, just to be clear, welcome to walk at graduation. That's one of the questions we get, so I just want to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Other questions?
I move to approve or recommend to the full board SHS 2024 candidates for early graduation under consent.
I'll second that, and I just want to thank you for all your hard work with all the students. I want to thank all of our administration with that. So
Thank you.
please pass that along.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Motion from Mr. McKenna, second from Mr. Schulze.
Little amendment, can we have that placed under consent?
He's-
Oh, thank you.
Yep, you're good. Already there. Any further discussion, questions? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion recommends to the full board, 6-0-1 absent. Thank you, Mr. Ford. All right. We removed 3D from the agenda tonight, so let's move down to 3E. Discussion and possible recommendation to approve the 24-25 and 25-26 boys hockey co-op agreement. Mr. Blaha.
Good evening. Probably 6-8 months ago, we had the opportunity to look through what our co-op was. We've had certain members that wanted some changes, some more certainty. Mr. Kernan's back here and was part of this process. What we have right now is one that would guarantee different levels of games. Right now, we would be guaranteed 2 games, and then as Mr. Kern has a process, he's working with the city for improvements at our rink, and if we had similar numbers to right now, that would be near 40%. If 40% of our if 40% of the team is made of our students and we have those improvements, we would be guaranteed 4 games.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
Just to be clear off what you said, or
You want to go? It's fine. You go first. You go after that.
so if we have 40% of the roster, but no upgrades are made, would that just mean we'd host 3 games?
2 games yet.
Oh, just 2 games. So, okay.
So Mr. Karen, can you come up here too? Mr. Blaha as well. I'm going to talk to both of you. So as of right now, the current, and you, Brendan, you and I have talked a little bit about this, all right? So the current contract was up to a certain number of games, and because of that, we've been getting one game.
Yeah,
Or
this year
two.
we had scheduled one game,
Okay.
and after some questioning with the high school coach, then I think we've gotten 2 games.
And again, we're not calling anything. We're just having a discussion here. Okay. So we did get 2 games out of that, and then our new agreement is going to allow 4 games if we have upgrades. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. The current upgrades. What would be the cost of that potentially if we were going to make? And these are safety upgrades, correct, to the Sparta rink, right?
Right. Yeah, the first round of upgrades for safety would be between $300,000 and $400,000.
Okay.
It includes bleachers, new boards and glass, flooring, things like that.
All right. And what's the possibility that the city can cover that, or would it be Parks and Rec, or would it be city if that was going to be the case?
It falls under Park and Rec, so we've taken that first step. We've talked to Parks and Rec already, and now we have to go in front of finance and talk with them.
Okay.
That'll probably happen in February.
All right. And is there any possibility there's that kind of funding for the ice rink?
Not this year, but since they have their budget approved already, but there's a chance the following year we'll see something like that.
And one final question for the following year, what's it looking like from a percentage standpoint for our varsity kids on the Toma Sparta team?
I guess I haven't separated them out by varsity and JV, but just as a team as a whole, right now we're about 42% as of this season.
Yeah.
Next year we go up to about 48.
I was going to say
It's like 51.
Yeah, I know we're over 40% this year,
Yeah.
and now you're talking 48 potentially next year, and potentially 52 the following year.
Yeah, I think back in 2018 was the first time we were actually, when we first co-opted, we were under 40%.
Okay.
And we've been about 40% or higher since
All right.
then.
Yeah, and I want to thank you for all of the cooperation. Mr. Blaha, you have stepped up with this big time, and so the teamwork that's gone into this it's really been great. So thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Blaha, with that as well.
Thank you. Any more questions from the board? Yeah, Ms. Lopez.
Thank you. So the number of games in question are the number of games that would be played at the Sparta rink. How many total games does Sparta participate with Toma as a team?
I believe they can schedule up to 22 games.
22?
That's what I believe. I would have to verify that.
So 18 of the games are in Toma. Oh, no, but then there are away games too.
Yes,
so
there are about 10. I think there was 10 home games on the Toma Sparta schedule.
Okay, thank you.
And those home games, we have an agreement with the association that if a high school student goes to the game, they get in free. So they have that. We have an agreement where we reimburse them because it's understandable. But we do say that our kids go in for free for that, and we take care of the finances on that side, just like if they're going to a basketball game or anything like that. So,
Thank you. Any further questions from board, comments? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion.
I'd move to approve the 24-25 and 25-26 boys hockey co-op agreement to be placed under consent.
I'll second that motion.
Motion from Mr. Wells and a second from Ms. Lopez. Any further discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion recommends the full board. Thank you, Mr. Blaha. All right. Next one, 3F, discussion possible recommendation to purchase Herman playground equipment. Ms. Hauser.
Thank you. So our Herman playground, we have a couple items that we've noticed since it's been open over the past couple years. The first is we have arguably the most popular attraction on any of our playgrounds in the district, which is a zip line. The problem with the zip line is it has rules to be used in order to keep the tension on the rope, I'll call it, appropriate. We can enforce those rules during the school day, but it's a little harder for community use outside of the school day. And so what's ended up happening is routinely we're having to get the playground folks in here to tighten that, I'll call it rope, or replace it, and so on, which makes downtime. It could cause safety concerns and so on. In talking with the playground manufacturer, since the time that we installed that playground, that wouldn't be the system they would recommend anymore. They would instead do a zip track, which is the same type of methodology, similar experience for the child, but it's not a rope. It's more like a system with almost like a pulley in it that it glides along. If you look at some of the newer playgrounds, like in the lacrosse area, it tends to be more of the zip track. It is a costly switch. However, like I mentioned, it's kind of our our proud playground piece in the district, and the kids love it, both during the school day and for the community use. And so we asked for a quote to replace our current zip line. Again, we're investing thousands of dollars each year to keep up with the maintenance of it, plus it has the downtime and the safety concern. So it would be replacing the current zip line with the zip track. And then the other thing that we've noticed is the playground out there, just with it being new construction, there is no shade. In the warmer months, there's just nowhere for the kids to go to get any type of shade whatsoever. We looked at many different options, including building shelters, park shelters, kind of like what you would see in the back of the Montessori building or over at Southside. That came with its own challenges with some additional costs and things. And so what we ended up coming up with as a recommendation is we can get attachments to our current playground equipment that use as much of the current playground equipment as possible, but then it also adds additional beams with like fabric type canopies over the top. The quote includes 3 of those canopies, and that would give very good shade coverage. So think of a tree. The shadow a tree casts is much greater than the size of the tree itself. And so these canopies would work similar in that a 12, a 15, and a 20-foot canopy would create a much bigger like shadow, I guess, for some shade out there. And so to add 3 canopies along with replacing the zip track, it would be a cost of $104,000. That is eligible to be used out of the Herman referendum funding, which we currently have about $630,000 remaining. We have made it through our list of recommended uses, and this would be one that we feel would meet the needs of both during the school day and for community use.
Thank you, Ms. Hauser. Questions? Yeah. Did you have one?
I do. Go ahead. Okay, thank you. So you said it costs thousands of dollars every year to maintain the zip track or the zip line as it is currently.
Yep.
Would the zip track and or the canopies come with a warranty? And so that's one question. Second question is, would we be able to sell the zip line on the surplus, get some funds for the district from that? And then my third question is, during the summer months when school is not in session and during the winter months, will that cloth canopy be removed, or is this something that's up year round, and how long is it expected to last? So a lot of questions there. If you forget, I'll try to remember.
Yep. Okay, can we sell it? I am not certain. Warranty, we would be hiring the playground manufacturer to install all of these, so they would all come with the same playground warranty as all of our playground equipment has, which I don't have the warranty memorized, but it'd be the same as if we were purchasing, well, we are purchasing new, but it'd be the same playground warranty we get on all playground equipment. So they would they would take out the current zip line and install the new, because there's a grid system underneath the playground equipment for drainage and things, so we would have them do all of the work to make sure that that system remained intact also. As far as salvage, I'm not completely certain. I can talk to them to see if there's a secondhand market that maybe they even know of somebody, but from the sounds of it, they don't really, the zip line isn't really in their current catalog of things they would recommend. They are deferring to the zip track now. And then, oh, the canopies. So they would stay up year round. When it comes time to replace them, we would just have to replace the fabric. So the cost would be a fraction of this because this cost includes all of the poles and things like that. Do you happen to remember, Toby, the cost of the canopy? No. I did ask for that number. I don't have it with me though. But we'd work it into we'd include it in the buildings and grounds budget. I can't remember the life expectancy, but they last multiple years. And so we would just plan on that being a routine maintenance cost according to schedule.
Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Lopez? Do you have, Mr. McKenna, questions? Anyone else?
Mr. Burns Gilbert, so Ms. Hauser, if we were to say not to exceed $104,000, would that limit you in any way, shape, or form, or is that going to be okay in the motion? I just want to make sure that we're not creating a limiting factor for you, that's all.
I have the quote here. Let me make sure there's no rounding
Okay.
or anything. 104,000 even is the quote I have.
Okay, sounds great. So Mr. Burns Gilbert, I'd make a motion to recommend the purchase of Herman playground equipment not to exceed $104,000.
All right, thank you. Motion from Mr. Schulze,
I'll second that motion.
second from Mr. Wells.
Should I make that out of Fund 49? Yeah, let's
Do you want to
make
be
that
specific?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
try again.
Okay.
You gonna say it again?
I would make a motion to recommend the purchase of the Herman playground equipment not to exceed $104,000 and to come out of Fund 49.
I'll second that.
Perfect. Motion from Mr. Schulze, a second from Mr. Wells. Any further discussion, questions? I did have one question, Ms. Hauser. Was there thoughts or reasoning behind canopies instead of like trees and other options to provide shade? Like, what was that process for you?
Really, the only other option we explored, but many variations of it, was something along the lines of a shelter, which would be some beams and a roofing structure, which that comes with its own routine maintenance cost of, it'd be basically a shingled roof or so on. We'd have to do concrete and things like that. Then you have to consider snow removal. Do we need electricity? So, but we looked at many different sizes of park shelters because that's really the route we thought we were going to go. We looked at many different locations. There wasn't really an ideal location. And so then we kind of thought outside the box and talked about this, met with the Herman team, met with the playground company. Ryan Fritsch investigated them through his different channels, and we thought this was the best solution to provide the shade.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. All right. Hearing no further discussion, we can do, sorry, I'm getting this mixed up. Roll call for this one, right? Ms. Markran, you ready?
Mr. Burns Gilbert,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Mr. Wells,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Schulze,
Yes.
Ms. Behrens.
Yes.
All right. Motion is recommended to the full board, 6-0-1 absent. Thank you, folks. And then moving right along, 3G, discussion and possible recommendation to approve of 2024 budget calendar. Ms. Hauser.
Thank you. So today, attached in board docs is the budget calendar we are proposing for 2024 calendar year. The budget calendar is presented about this time every year to the board. And not only is it communicating to you our plan for when we prepare the different pieces of the budget, but it's also opportunity for you to give feedback if there's any special reports or anything you want at any time during the year. I also ask for your formal approval just so we can say that we do have a board adopted budget calendar, and then we can post it on our website saying that this is our intended budget calendar, so that our public has awareness of our process as well. The calendar, you will notice two different colors. Red is the current year budget, blue is next year's budget, just so kind of at a glance. Anything that would go to the board is in bold. You can see the first column is the fiscal year that it would be applying to, and then the final column is typically like who has oversight or who's kind of in charge of that piece of the budget process. This is meant to be an overview. This isn't all inclusive of any time we might talk about something financial, but this is really kind of the path that we follow throughout the year for our budget process. And you will see that there are some months that we're talking multiple budgets in the same month, and that's when it gets fun. So as a quick overview, January through May, or winter into spring, that's when we start to talk about our long range plans. So in February, I'll be coming forth with Ryan and Chris and Kyla, and we'll be presenting the long range plans for technology, buildings and grounds, and instruction. We also are starting to talk about our staffing plan for the upcoming year. And then, going through February and March, I'm gathering data from local districts on salaries and benefits. We're talking with our employee benefit committee on health insurance renewals. And so this late winter, early spring is really accumulating all the data and looking at our comparables, so that we can come forward in April with recommendations to the board for staffing plan, salaries, and employee benefits. Also during that time, I know we've already really begun looking at the revenue and expense budget for next year, but kind of starting to solidify that and distributing those budgets to the different administrators so that we can build department budgets and school budgets. May, June, and July are wrapping up the current year and preparing for the audit, making those final budget revisions. And then August, we flip back to the 24-25 or the upcoming year budget, and start talking about the impact on tax levy and mill rates, revenue limits, preparing for the annual meeting, which is happening in October. And then we kind of start all over again. So there's not too many changes from last year or the process that we've been following, but if there's any questions or feedback, I can take those now.
Thank you, Ms. Hauser. Questions or comments from the board? They can be? Okay, yeah, it says, okay. I just appreciate it. I love seeing it laid out like this and that visual, so thank you. It was super helpful having that. Hearing no conversation, I'd entertain a motion.
Yeah, I just want to second what Colin said. Thank you for that, Ms. Hauser. It makes it very easy to follow, and it's definitely efficient, so appreciate that. I will entertain that motion. Thank you, Mr. Burns-Gilbert.
I'll second.
Approve of the 2024 budget calendar.
And to be placed under consent.
Okay. Second that. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion is recommended to the full board, 6-0-1 absent. Thank you. 4A, announcements and information. Mr. Ruff.
Yeah, I've already addressed the school closure, possibly tomorrow, so that's already done. But we've had a good start to the 2024 calendar year. A lot of excitement, a lot of high fives, a lot of hugs, a lot of excitement as we roll into, I mentioned already, final exams at SHS will be next week, and we wrap up that first semester and springboard into a great second semester. Our co-curriculars are really in the heat of it now. Our show choir started this past weekend, and they started getting going there. But we have all of our athletics, and our clubs and organizations are also very busy within the community, doing the best they can and getting ready for their spring competitions and trips and field trips and community engagement. We have the convention coming up next week. We talked about it a little bit already, so very looking forward to not necessarily parking the truck and doing everything down into downtown Milwaukee, but once you get there, you put your vehicle there and you don't have to leave it for 2 or 3 days, which is fantastic. And then we have our full board on the 22nd. Committee of the whole on the 12th and the February 26th meeting. In December, the board adopted the focus areas. Thank you very much for all the board members and administration who put some ideas on what they'd like to be a part of. That process will be moving forward this week as well, and we'll continue that. The next step would be to get the staff engagement, staff, community, parents, you get various other stakeholders involved. Success criteria, getting more, coaches and advisors, staff retention, getting that feedback, open enrollment, continuing, and that community engagement piece. So that'll be continuing as well as we come into the season.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Russ. We're at 4B, so entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion for Mr. Schulze.
Second.
Second from Mr. McKenna. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. We're adjourned.
You want to hit that one more time, please?
You bet.
All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. The meeting has been noticed to Evans Print and Media Group, WCOW Radio, Magnum Radio, La Crosse Tribune, Sparta City Hall, and the Sparta Free Library. Mr. Russ, are there any changes to the agenda?
I do not have any changes.
All right, I'd request a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. McKenna. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Wells. Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0, one absent. Mr. Russ, any public input?
I do not believe we have any public input tonight for this meeting.
Thank you very much. All right, item 2A, discussion and possible action to approve the resolution authorizing the school district budget to exceed the revenue limit by $750,000 per year for 2 years for non-recurring purposes. Mr. Russ.
In December, the board voted to move forward with a $750,000 operating referendum for 2 years. Tonight is the legal requirements that the district must take to finalize that action. So there's two parts. 2A is the giving the authority to go over the 750, and when we get to 2B, that actually gives us the authority to get to the ballot. To make it to simplify it. In board docs and at your place is for 2A, the first resolution. This is what will actually be on the ballot. This is not what we will be voting on unless the board wishes to do that. The actual resolution is the actual agenda item, which we'll get to once we finalize the resolution that's at your place. The only real If assuming that the 750 for 2 years is still what the board wishes, there's really not a lot of movement unless you get to after the operational expenses, comma. This is where the board can have some discussion, or we need to finalize that prior to moving forward. So the quote, including for maintenance, safety, security, technology, staff compensation, and benefits, end quote, that is the part that the board has an opportunity to change. We don't need anything there. In previous conversations, we've talked about making it not just for anything, but specifically labeling some things. But it does not just have to do that because it's including any type of operation. So it just kind of outlines those operational expenditures. This is what the administration came up with and feels like it meets just as an idea, but this is what we would be recommending to the board to finalize. But this resolution needs to be either agreed upon from the board or voted upon. That's an option, but before we move forward with any discussion.
Any discussion from board members on this item? Go ahead, Mr. Prince Gilbert.
Yeah, I just was going to say I'm in favor of keeping the maintenance, safety, security. I think the specifics make sense. I think The more that we can outline how we're going to be giving this right back to our community, to me, it makes sense to keep that in there.
Yeah, when Mr. Russ and I looked at this initially last week, this is how he presented it, said that cabinet felt, or I'm sorry, was it cabinet or administrators, the directors?
Yeah.
Okay,
Directors.
thank you for that. You know, we could have kept it as operational expenses, but I felt I thought the way they presented it and gave a little bit extra is the exact transparency we're looking to give our constituents, and so I mean I thought it sounded great. So I was hoping that we as a board would feel the same way. Mr. McKenna, did you have something?
I do feel the same way. I really like the way it's spelled out. My only question, I guess, is how some of these look to be recurring to me. Why are we saying they're non-recurring?
That is the legalese that we have to say, because we say recurring, that means there's not going to be a time frame on it. The non-recurring, if I'm understanding correctly, the legalese refers to the 2 years for non-recurring expenses, because if they're for recurring expenses, we wouldn't be able to put a time limit on it.
So
Kind of. The recurring is referring to the revenue, not to the expense. So is it a recurring revenue or a non-recurring revenue? Recurring would be it's a revenue till forever. Non-recurring is it has a finite term, which is very confusing because we're getting the revenue to pay for expenses that definitely are recurring. Yes.
And
That makes sense.
And
Yep.
essentially that revenue could be spent on any of the following. Ms. Behrens?
No, I guess I agree too that wording needs to be in there, just so people aren't confused with the facilities
Sure.
referendum as well, knowing that that's what this is separate.
Perfect. All right, any further discussion from board members?
I'll make the motion to not recommend to the full board to approve the resolution 2A as presented.
So
We will
I'll,
need-
I'll go ahead.
gotta read
I'll do the entertain, and then you say so moved. How about that? Just I'll make sure because I have parentheses on exactly what has to be
Oh,
done.
you have to okay.
All right. So,
Yeah, this is the part of the legal document that we need to. Ms. Markren is ready because we have a whole separate note sheet that all of this information will be moving forward. So it's very particular, as Mr. Schulze stated.
all right. So I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the school district budget to exceed revenue limit by $750,000 per year for 2 years for non-recurring purposes.
So moved.
I have a motion for Mr. Burns Gilbert. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Mr. McKenna. Do we have any further discussion on item 2A?
Before we move forward, Ms. Markren, do you have everything you need?
It is on the sheet, right?
It absolutely is,
Everything.
yes. Yep,
Yeah,
it's in parentheses and very specific. Any further discussion from board members? Roll call.
Nope. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Mr.
Mr. Wells?
yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Mr. Schulze?
Yes.
Ms. Behrens? Yes. Mr. Burns Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. Lopez?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0, 1 absent, and Mr. Hendricks. Item 2B, discussion and possible action to approve a resolution providing for a referendum election on the question of the approval of a resolution authorizing the school district budget to exceed revenue limit by $750,000 per year for 2 years for non-recurring purposes. Mr. Russ.
This is the second part. This is a procedural requirement that allows us to go to the ballot in April. So there is specific language that Mr. Schulze will read once the discussion is done to get the exact language that we need for the basically the procedural requirement legally.
So is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve a resolution providing for a referendum election on the question of the approval of a resolution authorizing the school district budget to exceed revenue limit by $750,000 per year for 2 years for non-reoccurring purposes.
So moved.
I have a motion from Ms. Lopez. Do I have a second? A second from Mr. Wells. Any further discussion on this item 2B? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Schulze,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Wells,
Yes.
Ms. Behrens,
Yes.
Mr. Burns Gilbert,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0, 1 absent, and Mr. Hendricks.
So please, Mr. Scholze, Ms. Lopez, before you run away, Ms. Markren has some things for you to sign so we can get that sent in. So our next steps in this process is that we're going to finalize the paperwork. We will send it to Quarles and Brady, which I want to give a big shout out for helping us through this process to make sure that we meet the legal requirements. There's a lot of posting things that we will continue to do that. Tomorrow we will continue our communications with our communication planning with Bray Architects and our team. And we'll start getting we're planning a press release to move forward. We're also planning an editorial to put some things out about why we're going to facility and not operating. Opposite. Why we're going to operational, not facility at this time. So we're working on those sorts of things, which will inform the board before that comes out. But that's kind of the next steps in our process.
Thank you for that, Mr. Russ. 3A, at this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Wells. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second from Mr. Burns Gilbert. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the evening and drive home safely. I don't think it's snowing yet.